Head and Heart, the podcast. And we're having our lovely tea, sipping the tea, spilling the tea. But today we have some lovely tea from a place here in Owensboro, Moonbow Apothecary and Emporium. And
Frank Courtney is delightful.
And we are having the caramel apple tea, and it's pretty delicious.
It's delicious, and I was just going to show too. She got this. Beth got these there too. These cute little, what are they called?
Steepers, I guess.
Tea steepers.
Yeah,
the cute little heart. So thank you for going by and scooping. And these adorable. These came from Moonbow also, correct?
No. These came from I think Gabe's. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. These are adorable.
They're just
Look how
cute.
cute. Okay, so the tea came from Moonbow.
So welcome, and here we are.
Welcome back. It feels like it's been a long time.
It does.
It's just only about like a week.
Yeah.
I think only about maybe a week or maybe a week.
Okay. So we've got a lot to talk about today that's been a brewing. That's kind of applicable for the season.
Oh my gosh, it's really good. And it's chilly outside. It's Sunday. If you're in the borough, I don't know how it was. I've been out of town, so this weather feels just really like fall has arrived.
Snuggly.
Yeah. I think we're gonna make chili.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Well, do we want to take a few minutes and just drop in before we get started? Let's do that. Or just moments, maybe not even minutes, but maybe just allowing yourself to come into whatever space that you're in and noticing the sights and sounds around you. Maybe noticing the internal sensations. And perhaps beginning to deepen the breath just a smidge. And maybe, let's take that idea that Julie brought up of being kind of snuggly and cozy in this season. It is rainy out here in the borough, and so maybe we just take a few breaths and think about that feeling of being snuggly and cozy. And kind of going with the transition of the season. Allowing ourselves to step into the beauty that is fall and the season change. And when you feel nice and ready, maybe beginning to come back to the here and now. Perhaps deepening the breath to reawaken the body to the present moment. Maybe blinking the eyes open if you've closed them. And allowing yourself to be a little bit more present for our conversation today.
Okay, thank you. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Just a little check-in. I love how that's just a good remembering, a good reminder of the power of just a moment. Like it doesn't have to be, an
just
hour is delightful, but a bite of it is really impactful.
Yeah. Right, and really allows us to realign in some ways, or recenter, reground, right? And that kind of allows us maybe to transition into some things we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
But first we got to do
our peeve and our pleasure.
Our peeve and our pleasure.
Okay.
So Juju?
Yeah. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, because I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay.
I'm free flowing today.
Okay. Well, I feel like
as
you're
per
free
norm.
flowing. Yes. Okay. So my peeve is that my own self.
Okay, tell me about that.
I'm just like, my own humanness, like, several different things. You know, I have felt recently just allowing other people or things or situations to like pull me
away,
and it's like getting me a little frustrated with my own not recognizing it sooner, or just whatever, you're just in your own way. You're in your own way. However, like the big one most recently is, so I've been struggling with my foot for over a year, probably a year and a half, maybe longer. And I have been doing all the things that I think I know to do to, take care of it. And then I was kind of recognizing, am I really, have I been gaslighting myself a little bit with this? Right.
Ooh.
So, anywho, I recognize, I've been modifying a shit ton, right? And I'm really proud of myself in the way that I modify and I, take what I've learned and been able to continue my practice, to continue to show up every day without it being this major thing, right? So it kind of been proud of myself for it, but recently I was at a ball game and my little bestie Josie was bebopping herself down the bleachers, and she wasn't moving super fast by any stretch, but she was definitely a bebopping, this is her cute way that she bebops. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go with you. And so I got up and I just my effort of bebopping, right? I was just to catch up with her, and I was like, well, fuck. I can't bebop
The same way
I'm not bebopping. There's no bebopping happening. And I recognized in that moment how much I have been modifying my life. I'm making emotional. So I was shit, this is really impacting me more than I thought it was.
Than I've allowed myself to realize.
Yeah. And not that I want to be running, I don't, but anywho, I've had 2 x-rays, both of them show arthritis, and so I was referred to a podiatrist and instantly went to let's just cut it open and let's do this and clean it up. And I was like, whoa, I'm not ready for that. I don't want to do that. I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, in the meantime, I feel like there's still some exploratory things I can do.
Yeah.
I'm going to have an MRI in the first of the year. Insurance going to wait until the first of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm going to lean into some physical therapy and just see if I can find someone else, right, to just kind of hold the space for me and see how that goes for the next little bit. So that's my peeve of I was holding it together, in a way that maybe I wasn't looking.
Yeah, tight.
Yeah, holding it a little tightly, and I was it has started to impact my knee, it started to impact my hip in the way that I'm modifying. I'm still doing things, I'm still doing all the things, and I just really, until that moment, hadn't really recognized, because my life is so spacious. I've created a schedule that allows me to move at my pace, right? Which is wonderful and delightful. And because I've created so much space to move in the way that I want to, when I was put in a situation to just kind of push myself beyond something, right? Just bebop. It's well, shit.
I'm not.
Okay, this is impacting more than I have let myself recognize that it is. And so there's a lot of lesson in that for me. So I'm working through all that. However, that's my peeve today.
What's your pleasure?
My pleasure is, my pleasure is that I, this week, being away, it's such a good, we know this, we talk about this, just removing yourself, a change of scenery, fresh air, supportive people. Like my kids are taken care of. My, our Mark's family is wonderful. Like there's just a lot of support.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free time. I had a lot of time to myself. I read a lot. I was anywho. So in all of that spaciousness, I was just kind of reflecting on some really important moments that I have let just kind of slip by because life is busy and we don't always like recognize in a moment like some of the good work we've done or the like full circle moment. And so
how cherished it is, or so great.
Right, yes. And so part of my like purpose or my intention in the work that I do is that anybody that I come into contact with, right, like I want to see them embody the practice, right? Not my practice, not my for them to like take what they're practicing and let it live in the work that they do.
Yes.
Right? And so I two people in particular, like I've worked with for 2 years. One for 2 years, I'll like regularly in class, but also once a month, like just check-ins. And she's just really taken what she has learned and picked up. Not necessarily what's mine, but just her like being in the practice and what it means to her. And she started implementing some things at work, and it was just like, fuck yes, this is it, right?
This is the why.
This is what we're doing. And I've had a couple of those recently. And then also just, I've had a lot of people on the
more triggered on with patients, right?
Yeah.
Is technology, or having to make like business phone calls that maybe aren't to an actual human. That still counts as technology to me.
Technology. You know, I saw a meme. I don't even know what they're called. It's not what it's called. But it was something along the lines of, you know, I'm butchering it, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. They're like, we would say back in the day, like, oh, our parents are, oh, the technology, I can't figure out technology. And now I'm at the phase where I'm like, oh, if I have to learn something new, I'm out. Like, I don't know what anything with technology. If it's something with technology, I'm good. I'm good with all that I have here.
I'm my cat.
I was like, oh, I feel like as a grandma, I'm talking about arthritis and I can't handle technology.
Well, and this is part of, transition and seasons of change, right?
Yes.
Like, I have one sweet client who tells me most every week, this getting old shit sucks. And I validate and say, yeah, it does. And then we hash it out, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, there's some truth in that, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's transition, right?
There is.
And acceptance.
And there's an acceptance. And I'm gonna riff off that for a second. I think this is gonna go into what we are, a little bit of what we're talking about. But, so I don't think aging sucks. Like, I don't want to be in that ball game. I don't want to be in that kind of energy, right? Like, I want to, I appreciate aging. Like, I appreciate the wisdom that comes from it. And so this is my peeve with myself. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is my peeve. Is that I have for the last few years done a really good job, like, of being aware. Like, I've been trying to be really aware of, like, not just my aging process, but like the ways in which I told Beth just a few minutes ago that I learned a new word.
Yes.
Overculture.
Yes.
And so that may not be new to you. It was new to me.
It was new to me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I loved it because I've been trying to find a language for this, right? Like, it's, I was, grumpy texting or with a friend, and I'm like, it just feels like it's just another. Oh, I think we were talking about the eye pillows that looked like a maxi pad. There's a picture that our friend Jess sent that during teacher training where I have on this, like, it looks like a maxi pad. It's a
lavender scented
eye pillow that's
disposable.
There's the word, disposable. And I was just like, haha, yes. Here we are, capitalism
at its
finest, right? Like, we will find a reason to. And so, anywho, it's like in these conversations recently, I'm trying to find a language for it. It's like, is it capitalism, consumerism, patriarchy? Is it da-da-da-da-da? And so, anyway, this language of overculture is like all of that.
Encompassing. And
so, my peeve with why I'm like kind of grumpy with myself is because this whole situation of like, oh, am I judging myself on the fact that my body is aging and it's showing up differently, and I'm like, ooh, really frustrated, and I don't want to do that. I feel like I have done such a good job. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but I don't wear much makeup at all anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with wearing makeup. There's not. And I do appreciate it from time to time. Like, you will see me when this season starts to change. I probably have a little something under here.
I
look a little scary, a little pasty, and a little like sunken eyes. And so I might put a little something there. But I don't day to day. It's just, I recognized a couple of years ago how much I was being sucked into this idea that we have to
be different,
spend money to make ourselves look a certain way. That's not right. Like, and I'm not knocking makeup. I actually enjoy putting it on. Like, if it's something that's like enhancing or glowing or lifting or brightening or making me feel better, shit, I'm gonna use it. Okay, it's like, I don't want anybody to think I'm judging their makeup use. But my point in saying that is that over the last few years, I've tried to really pay attention to the ways in which I'm over-consuming or over-modifying, I don't know, being sucked into something that's really not aligned with.
Over-justifying, maybe. Like, some action.
Yeah, all of it. Like, in that whole umbrella word of overculture, it's like is what she was saying in that podcast was it's like, it is what pulls us out and away from ourselves, even in these even in our own communities, where it's like, we want you to be an individual, but not so much an individual that it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So anywho,
Ooh, beautiful.
I don't know where that spiral went, but that's the peeve with myself right now, is that I recognize in that moment, am I frustrated with myself because my body is, am I leaning into a body supposed to be a certain way? Am I resisting my body aging? I don't want to think that I am, because that's not who I want to be. I am trying to show up in the best ways that I can to be healthy.
But I think that does really tie in with what we're going to talk about today. But I think it's like, it comes back to this idea of, are we judging self, right? And is that then doing harm to us internally, right? Because I agree with you. I think aging is actually a beautiful process. One of my clients shared with me a quote from one of our friends, Diane, this week. And, again, I may butcher it. I don't know if it's exactly what Diane said, but, right, like, aging is, a privilege that not everybody gets to have.
It's the truth.
Right? And that particular client said, it knocked me down. And I was like, man, it kind of knocks me down
it's
too.
The truth. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I do feel that way. It's the same with my kids, right? Like, it's bittersweet. I don't want them to grow up, but I definitely want them to grow up. It's, this privilege of being able to come into their fullness, right? Like, and that's what we're doing as we're aging. Like, I don't want to stunt that. I don't want to pretend that it's not, that I'm not aging, that my body isn't different than it was 10 years ago, right? So let's dive in then a little bit to what we thought we might talk about today.
So today we wanted to share on the 8 limbs of yoga, a little bit about that, right? But particularly one kind of idea from the 8 limbs of yoga that we kind of find as foundational, right? And it's this concept of ahimsa, or nonviolence, right? And so a lot of people will take this idea maybe back to the golden rule, right? Like, do unto others as you would have them kind of do to you, right? But I think we can take this concept so much further, right? Of like, yes, non-harm to other people, right? But like non-harm to ourselves, non-harm in our thoughts to ourselves, right? And even as we look at that idea of aging, or like patience or self-judgment or criticism, it's like ahimsa can really come into that. It's like, are we being critical to ourselves internally? Yeah.
So I think it's important, and how we kind of looped ourselves to this when we were like, hey, it's time to meet. Where are we gonna shoot the shit over today?
Yeah, what are we gonna talk about?
Is the integrity of our practice, and integrity, like, of embodiment, or yoga in general, or whatever you're leaning into, right? Life. And it's important as a yogi, important as someone who's teaching about embodiment, is that we remember and that we recognize that there's more to this journey than one thing.
Yes.
Right? And so while movement is so delightful and important, and it has been such a huge part of me returning to my body, allowing me to come back to my body, it is one of the foundational pieces of the Ashtanga, or 8 limbs of yoga. And it's third, right? Is that right?
I think. Yamas, niyamas.
Yeah, awesome. Is third. Yeah. So it's ahimsa, nonviolence, is the first of the 8 limbs.
Yes.
Actually, is that right?
It's the first one of the first set of the 8 limbs.
Yes, of the 8 limbs. Okay. So the point in saying that is that we are not to live in integrity, right? Or to embody the practice, for me, means that we would be approaching all of these limbs or all of these principles in one way, shape, or form on the regular.
Yes.
And so, ahimsa, non-harm, non-violence, just like Beth said, is that we would, this non-harming of ourselves or others. And, you know, and so it's like what I felt like when I said I'm, you know, my pet peeve is like this is what we're talking about. I'm not trying not to be too hard on myself, right? For recognizing when I have been pulled outside of myself.
Right.
Is to not judge myself, like, or too harshly.
I really, and you know, for me, and I've told you this as before we kind of started chatting recordedly, right? Like this really comes back to self-inquiry, right? And like just an awareness or a noticing, right? And again, that's that non-judgment piece, right? Of like, you know, if we are being critical of self, it is likely we are being critical of others, right? And so I always kind of come back to like, it has to start with us first, like the inner journey within first, because all that external stuff, we want to be good humans to other people out in the world, but it's really hard to show up that way if we're not giving ourselves those same kindnesses.
Yeah. And, you know, that's like in this book, I'll share it in just a second. It's like she talks about too, it's often easier to show up in that outside than it is, right? To show up. And I feel that also kind of in the realms of the things closest to us too. Sometimes it's harder to show up in that way.
Oh, yes.
In the things that are closest to us than it is to project outward and be
absolutely
non-harming. Like, it's most people would say, oh, well, I'm not violent. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not violent. I don't hurt people. Right? And we have this idea of what that
violence or harm is.
Right.
Right. I laughed because there was a song lyric that my niece used to tell me when she was younger, right? She's about 22, 23 now. But when she was younger, I think it was 21 Pilots had a song. And one of the lyrics was like, sometimes quiet is violent, right? And to me, that was such a, like a concise and hard-hitting way of saying, like, you know, violence can be a lot of things, right? We can be violent with our words, right? Not just our hands or our fists or our body, right? And we can definitely, be violent in how we view ourselves or our relationships with ourselves or other things.
Well, and also you can be or non-harming or harming in silence.
Yes.
Or lack of communication.
Oh, so good.
So like if
so
you're
good,
not saying the thing, or we are like right now, some of my beef with the world at large is this neutrality. It's like like if we're just kind of playing here complacent when there's like the world is maybe asking us to
show up
in a different way, and so just riding here.
I think that's a great point, right? Like one of the things that kind of my mother-in-law has shared with me is like when one of her boys was little, he kind of said to her, I think the meanest thing you can do is not talk to somebody, right? Like to withhold talking, right? And so it's like, that's such a valid point, right? We can be harming or violent in non-action, right? Non-action is a choice.
And so ahimsa, just so I'm not confusing people who are listening, falls under the yamas.
Yes.
Okay. And that's the first limb.
Yes.
And then that has 5 different, I call them subcategories. So with under the yamas, which are restraints?
Restraints, yes. The yamas are the restraints.
Okay. And then there's ahimsa, or non-violence, or non-harm, is the first
Yes.
under that.
And I will say the English words of those.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little helpful, right? So we have non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-excess, non-possessiveness as the yamas, right? And those are our restraints.
Okay.
Right? And maybe Juju, do you want to, are you pulling out those Sanskrit words?
Oh,
Getting
gosh.
frisky?
Well, I can try. So ahimsa, non-violence; satya, truthfulness; asteya, non-stealing; brahmacharya, rightness of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Non-excess is how
non-excess.
my book
Yeah.
says that one.
Aparigraha, non-greed or non-hoarding. And so again, that's just 11. I teach at Russia too, and this was so fun when we were going through this with them. I loved it so much. Anywho, like this is just briefly just saying so that you're aware, right?
Yes.
Like that there's so much more. And again, this is just falling under the yamas, which are the restraints. And so there's 8 limbs, and this is just the first.
The first limb. And the first little subcategory of that limb.
Is the ahimsa. And yet, while I will die on this hill, I say that a lot about some things, is that this healing journey is not linear.
No.
Right? And yet, I do believe that this foundational piece of the puzzle is pretty damn important.
Yeah. I think it's the thing we have to constantly almost come back to.
Yeah.
Right? Of
Super
like,
foundational.
yes, of like, and almost like when we talk about alignment, right? And we say start from the ground up, right? Like this is the ground up.
Yeah.
Of kind of our philosophy or ideology of kind of yoga, right? And it starts with nonviolence. And so I took a couple of little baby notes here of like where this took me in a psycho-ed or kind of therapeutic world.
Bring it.
Okay. So if we look at ahimsa, Julie and I kind of talked about this idea of integrity.
Yeah.
Right? And so integrity took me to like being in alignment internally.
Yeah.
Right? And then, you know, when we think of that more in a therapeutic connotation, we kind of think of this idea of congruence or non-congruence. Are you in congruence internally or are you in non-congruence, right? And so congruence would be like the alignment, right? And we could also bring in this idea of maybe parts work, right? So are all the different parts of me in congruence or in alignment with what's going on, how I'm acting, what I'm doing, right? Are all these internal pieces a little bit at peace or settled with this, right? That could be a good indication that we're in alignment with those foundational kind of things. But the other was, for me, is like, if we're in congruence, there's this lack of what we call cognitive dissonance, right? And so cognitive dissonance is like when we are out of alignment and we know it, we kind of push it to the side, right? And there is a little bit of an internal battle that we like, it doesn't feel good, right? And that's cognitive dissonance. And so there's not any of that there, right? Like when we do that internal check-in, we feel settled. Not like the parts of us are shooting and screaming, and not like there's maybe this piece that we've had to push out to the side, right? We feel a little bit more in alignment. And that doesn't mean we necessarily accept what's going on out in the world or whatever situation we're kind of dealing with. It just means we're a little bit more maybe at peace with it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, we talked a little bit about this last time. I do think there's an acceptance that I think I shared it this morning from one of the apps that I do, one of my meditation apps, but it was talking about, right, this acceptance of a situation, of a moment in time. Like, we can't really move forward until we're accepting this. It does not mean that we
condone it.
Right. There's not a condone it, but just like we recognize that this is the truth of this moment.
Yes.
Okay. This is the truth of this moment. Now, how can I come back into, with that being said, that this is the truth, what do I need to do then to show up into my alignment, regardless of
external factors?
That's happening.
Yes.
So yeah, okay.
And again, for me, I think, and I don't think this is about perfection, right? Like, I always want to leave that disclaimer. This is about progress, not perfection, right? That's a little AA drop there too. But I think it's about like noticing and reevaluating, right? And again, I'll come back to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Like, they have this idea of taking a daily inventory, right? At the end of the day, we're taking a daily inventory and we're seeing what harms we caused, right? And if we can show up in a different way. So I really think it comes down to this self-inquiry space of, how am I showing up? And how do I continue to show up as the next best version of myself each day, the most embodied version of myself every day?
I love that. I think the alignment is, so integrity, that's what we were talking about, what keeps us in integrity in this practice of embodiment and in yoga, which is what brought us to the foundational pieces of the philosophy, right? And it's important for me, I think, to share, since I talk a lot about embodiment, is the alignment that we find in our bodies has this ripple effect outside. So the energetic piece of allowing our bodies to find their integrity, and the way that we stack up our bones, the way that we engage our muscles, the way that we soften our shoulders, the way that we release our jaw, the way that we spread open our hands and close our hands, the way that we invite our body into our movement in an effort to find our own alignment. Right? It once we kind of, I don't know, it's one of those chicken egg thing, right? Like, do we find our alignment in our body, and then energetically the alignments around us start to kind of come into place? Or is it the energetics finding the alignment there, and then our body kind of comes into alignment? I don't know.
And both?
And both.
Yeah, we come back to the same answer.
There's something that happens when you, it's one of, I say this a lot in class or in trainings, workshops, whatever, but one of the things that I think, there's a million reasons that yoga is beneficial, right? But one of the truest things for me that I feel like is that we have this in a well-rounded class. We have this thing where we breathe all the way in, and then we come all the way down. We engage and we lengthen, we rotate into our twist, and then we come back to center. Right? We lift all the way up and we come all the way back. We're closing, we're having this full circle moment where we're bringing ourselves through a full breath pattern, a full movement pattern, right? And there's some integrity in the body. There's something that happens when we just give our body the space to shift, shimmy, and then come back to center.
Expand, right? Like, and really, as you were speaking, Julie, the thing that came up for me was like, empowerment, right? It's like through making these choices with our body and even with our, values, right? Our philosophy and values, like we are empowering ourselves and knowing that like we can make choices. And they don't have to be the same choices of anyone else. So it comes back to this, authenticity for me. Like, are you showing up as the most authentic version of yourself, or are we putting masks on for the world, right? I think the older I get, the more freedom I have found in like removing those masks and just showing up a bit more authentic or embodied. And I think that's the beauty of aging.
I love that. I wrote about that recently.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, not in the way that's like, not in the exact way that you're saying it, but the unmasking, because here's the other truth of that, is that when we start unmasking in a world that is still wearing a lot of masks,
people don't like it.
Right? There's that uncomfortability again. And so it's really hard. It's hard work to
keep showing up that way.
To keep showing up that way when it may be a little different than the way that other people that you surround yourself with or in community or in the broader community are willing to show up.
Oh, very valid.
And it's, and again, it's like when I can recognize too that I am maybe being pulled outside of myself, like, oh wait, but don't rock the boat, don't, whatever, like, so come and they're like, wait a minute, I'm not rocking, I'm just speaking what is my truth.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it kind of becomes an act of like almost like radical courage, right? To walk through this world embodied, right?
Yeah.
Because you're right, the cultures, many different cultures around us do not necessarily support that, right? Whether those are micro or macro.
The overculture.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And, so it is a little bit radical and it's quite courageous, right? Because not everybody is necessarily willing to do that work.
Yeah, and there's the twofold, and it's really, I love this work, right? I love the work. I love continuing to show up. I'm so grateful that I have a community that can, for the most part, meets me in that. And it's painful when they don't. Like, it's painful, like, to be, or to want, or to see change, there's change possible, or to want, this happens in yoga a lot, where people first jump in and it's like, so overwhelming in a good way. It's like so much radical, like awareness and movement and clarity, right? Which happens once we align our bodies.
Yes.
So, like when we align our physical body, there's clarity. When we align our spiritual or energetic body, there's clarity. And we want that access for everybody, though. We want everybody to have that access. And so, we overshare, we're so excited about it, and it's like we have to recognize that not everybody wants to meet us there.
Yeah.
And that is,
Well, we kind of have to discern, right? We have to pick up on that discernment of like who is open to this information and who's not, right? And I could really take that to like non-harm, right? Because it's like by having that discernment, allowing myself, like I'm protecting myself, right? I'm not getting disappointed that somebody doesn't want to hear me go on a little rant about spirituality or yoga, right? But also like I'm not harming them because they're not in the space to like receive that information.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like I'm protecting them, I'm protecting myself. Woo.
I like that. Well, and physically, if we're gonna just kind of weave ahimsa into the physical practice too, it's like this is where there's so much choice. That's what we like to share in yoga. There's so much choice, or in our classes, there's so much choice. Like everything is an invitation.
Yes.
In an effort so that people don't push themselves to a point of harm.
Yeah.
Right? And that we recognize how this movement is landing in my body. What is my body ready for today? What is my body here to do today? What do I need from this breath? What do I need from this movement? And so we do that by offering so much choice, right?
Yes.
Like it's not a alignment does not look the same for me as it does for you.
Yeah.
And so there's not one way that our body shows up in a certain space, a certain shape, a certain pose, a certain flow. And so
there's always choice.
Yeah, there's choice. And then sure, there's some structural like cueing that's important, and it can't be so rigid.
Yeah.
Right, that we can't meet all people and all bodies in that movement.
I think what this is kind of bringing me to, the word that it's having like come up for me is like coercion, right? Like I think for myself, in so many yogic spaces for so long, I was used to directive or coercion, right? Okay. And it was really upon us meeting, right, and having a space and a class where I did not feel coerced. I felt empowered to choose, right, and to do whatever the heck I wanted to do on that mat, regardless of what maybe you were cueing or calling, right? And I think that choice, right, allowing people to choose whatever they do with their body creates empowerment, right? And it allows us, again, to be more embodied, right? Like, to drop in a way that we just can't if we feel coerced. Rigid.
Okay, that brought two things to mind that I'll share. It's like, and I may have already shared this in another one, so forgive me if I can.
That's okay.
I don't like repeating myself, but I'm just going to chalk it up to my age. We repeat ourselves as we get older, okay?
That's how memory works.
That's how this memory works. I had a gal in class, and afterwards she just said, when you're at the end of class and people are just like kind of in the vibe, they're vibing, right? And she was just kind of quiet, and she waited and like got all her stuff together, and she was like, I just feel so strong after yoga. And I was like, I just loved it because it wasn't a power flow. It wasn't a vinyasa class. We were actually really low to the mat the whole time. And we were, and I said to her, and she said, even though you called it a roly-poly class, I was like, well, it was a roly-poly class, but what we did every step of the way was return to our alignment. We returned to center, and we found our length, and we took up space, and then we moved again, and then we came back to what felt like integrous space in our body. And so it is empowering, right? Like it's the same kind of thing. So that was the one thing that what you said made me think of. And what was the other? It'll come to me.
Okay. The other thing that I had jotted down that you and I had fleshed out maybe a little bit through text was just like, we always like to end on maybe like, what is the resource? What is the, AA says, what's the solution, right? But I don't know that it's the solution. What's the resource, right? But I think, the resource here is that we are all entitled to redemption.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We can all break the cycle of any kind of violent action, right? Whatever that looks like, right? And I mean, this could be, violence is on a spectrum, right? This does not have to be the most violent thing you've ever seen, right?
Let's go back to harm.
Yeah, harm, right? So, we can break this cycle by noticing the spaces in our life in which we can still cause harm and how we can modify or embody to shift that, right? And so I'm going to use an example from home. Oh, I've got alien eyes because I got my glasses on. It's really interesting. Again, I shared that, patience has been something I've been struggling with this week. And yesterday I was a little bit worn down, and, we're putting a TV up for like the 5th time this week, and I was not feeling it, right? And I was very impatient. And I told my husband, I've got to go take a nap. I do not have the bandwidth for this. I need to go lay down. But it wasn't probably the most kind way I could have said that, right? And then I got up for my nap, and I was grumpy. And I proceeded to, throw my things around as I got ready. And then I breathed a little bit and noticed perhaps that I was being a little bit of a dick, right? And I went downstairs, and I talked to my husband, and I said, hey, I want you to know that I've realized I was not being very kind. And I'm going to take a look at that and work at that. Because that was not anything you did wrong. It was really on me. Right? And so I think the redemption comes through accountability.
Yes, 100.
Through noticing when we have harmed someone, however big or small that is, right? And coming to that person and saying like, hey, I know that I did a thing. That was not my intent. Or maybe it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was not my intent. And I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to work towards not repeating that again. Right? And so I think the accountability is the resource, right?
I think so. I think I shared that. I've shared that recently. Like a couple of friends, like just texting, like, and what's happening in the world, right? And like, and I am a couple examples of just like more globally, like, I 100% am on team redemption, right? I think everybody, we are redeemable. Like, and what is that piece that makes a situation or a person or an experience redeemable is the accountability. We have to recognize and notice that this is a thing, and then make a different choice. Make a different choice. And that's like, there's so much cyclical happening that it's hard to offer redemption when there's this pattern.
When the pattern continues.
I used like a really random example of my sister-in-law, and we were talking about this on vacation, but what I'm kind of talking about is like the whole Coldplay thing that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Like the whole caught on camera, like whatever, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so that happened. It was a thing. And then the internet just continued to shame these people.
To roast them
over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, listen, that to me is harmful. Like, I'm not condoning what happened.
But we don't have to internet bully
We don't
people.
have to internet, like, keep it going. It happened
Stir
with
the pot.
it happened with the lady with the baseball. Like, I didn't agree with the way she handled it. I don't know if you saw that, but it was at a baseball game. The kid hit the dad got the baseball, gave it to his kid. This lady comes over and is like, that was my ball. You came over to my section. You go blah, 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 blah. You know, like pointing fingers. And you don't really hear what's saying. You just see it's all on the, like, people have it on video. Yep. And he gives the ball back, gives the ball to the lady. And then the team sees this and like
goes wild.
Comes and like gives the kid like tickets to this or that, gives him a ball, blah, 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 blah. Well, she ends up losing her job and like supposedly, I don't know. But it just like the memes and the continuing to I think the experience
to
for
other
her,
someone. I'm sorry I spit a little, but to like other someone,
Yeah.
to put them on the outs and to say like you're not worthy of any kind of redemption.
Like it was like over the top. And like, listen, I already said I'm on the dad's. I'm team dad for this one. He handled it really well. He could have gotten really upset and like in her face and like it's my ball, whatever. But he just like gave her the ball back and like I think the experience when she has to look at it is enough of like, oh shit, you know, like but for people to have to like, this is what I'm like, and this is the downside of the interwebs for me. It's like, you know, we have this shame spiral. Like people have to like continually the high road of like, oh, my moral superiority of like, you know, whatever. So that's just an example. Like I think people experience it's at our disposal redemption. And it's the connecting dot is the accountability into just like an apology that's like it's just kind of blah if your behavior hasn't changed.
Right. I think so again I'll go back to AA kind of material, but like the big book will say if our actions and our intentions don't align, we have a problem, right? And it's like the actions and the intentions have to align for that accountability to be there, right? Like I want to not only hear the words out of your mouth, right? But I want to see the action reflect what you have said, right? Because that's how I know that you're living in integrity.
Right, with what you're telling me,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
You're telling me you're sorry, whatever, whatever it is.
Whatever the situation.
So, yes, I think all of that is non-hard. Like, that's how we kind of live into, and I love in nonviolent communication, you know, the hand symbol is this, and it's like, nonviolent communication. So it's like, I accept no harm. I accept you without the harm, right? Like, so it's deeper than that, but it's this kind of energy of stop. Like you will not. I will accept no harm from you. I am open to you, though, right?
Yes.
Like, so it's like this, right? Like
It's kind of the and both.
It's the and both. It's ahimsa. It's non-harm to me or to anyone else. Like, right? Like not cutting somebody else off or whatever. I was gonna do you have anything else to add to that?
No, that was what I had kind of jotted down. I think you should share your little quote.
So it's a little bit longer than a quote, but I wanted to share, this is one of the books that when we're doing Yoga Sutras and yoga philosophy study that a friend, fellow yogi and teacher in one of my trainings recommended to me when I was going through my 300-hour training when we were dissecting the sutras. And I have since passed it and shared it with other people. It is just one of many interpretations, right? But this one is called A Woman's Guide to the Heart and Spirit of the Yoga Sutras, The Secret Power of Yoga. And so it is through a more feminine lens. Mm-hmm. And while this is not the section specifically about ahimsa, I'm gonna need those to read this.
And your crisscross applesauce.
Oh, thank you.
No.
I don't know. They're on my head.
Oh, just kidding.
Oh, if you were watching, you would probably chime in and say, "Dear Juju, they're on your head." And so this isn't the chapter, the sutra that's specifically talking about ahimsa, but it goes to back to what we were talking about, how it's a foundational piece of the whole philosophy. And so she references that. And I'm just going to read this part of it, and we can kind of digest it if we want to, or we can let it be the end of it. It says by Samyama, which is, the word means like fusion, okay? Kind of, on the inner light of the heart, one is granted powers of deep perception. As the power of perception is gained, it brings occult, meaning hidden, objects and concepts once thought to be out of reach into view. With this renewed understanding of life and nature, perception expands exponentially, enabling us to comprehend the gross as well as the occult. The wisdom of the Upanishads explains that there is a small flame that resides in each heart, the light of the true self. When our heart's radiance becomes the beacon we follow, our relationships have the ability to traverse from casual to profound levels. Along with the Upanishads, most of the great religious traditions honor and expound upon the many virtues of living from the heart. Do you know the expression, "they have a dark heart"? This occurs when the heart becomes tainted, hindering the light from reflecting outwards. The light in the heart becomes obscured when we are confused or plagued by disturbing thoughts or actions. If we hope to gain the power to delve into another's heart or intention, our own heart must reflect purity, portraying a deep sense of trust. This purity necessitates that the yamas and niyamas, the first two facets of Ashtanga Yoga, be respected and actualized. Adhering to the first yama, ahimsa, reverence for all, overrides any danger of acquiring this siddhi for selfish reasons or to do harm. It recognizes all hearts are one and perceives the same light to all. By Samyama, on the inner light in the heart, one is granted powers of deep perception. And so, I mean, when I read that, I just think about how ahimsa is the foundation. Like, this is, if you are filtering life's experiences, your own, others, through this kind of lens of, non-harm or universal connection, love,
It changes us.
It just changes the situation. Like it softens the whole situation.
I always go back to kind of that Beatles quote of like, all you need is love, right? And it's like they had it right all along.
Yeah.
But ahimsa for me really is us showing unconditional love to everyone, right? Love without condition is pretty hard. That means judgment is stepped to the side, right? Sure. And in your quote, this little excerpt you read, there was a piece that kind of reminded me of like when we close our practice and we're saying, namaste. Many times you will hear people say, the light in me sees and honors the light in you, right? We all carry that divine light. Well, it's like ahimsa is us remembering that we all carry this divine light. And so why are we going to harm each other when we're all carrying the same light? I love it.
I loved it, and I just want to point out, to me, when they talk about purity here, it's like integrity.
Yeah,
right.
Purity
it's not.
Of heart.
Yeah, it's purity of heart. It's not like some I don't know,
cleansing practice.
Cleansing practice. It is like the integrity, and that's what we're talking about. It's like what's this word that we've been talking? Alignment. Thank you.
What
alignment.
What are you doing here?
It's like the alignment. These pieces are coming together. Yes. Clarity, integrity, and it isn't about perfection, right? Like I want to circle back to that again. I had a friend the other day. This could be a whole other topic of conversation. Maybe we get into it one day or not. But she made this comment. She said, "It's not that I'm always right." She said, "But I'm wrong less and less because I'm working on it."
Yeah.
And I got chills just then. Like, it's not about being right. It's not so much about the being right? But I get what she's saying.
It's the knowing.
It's that we, and I feel that way. I feel that way in the sense of I'm in this continual loop of evolution.
Yes.
And so I'm constantly in reflection. And not so much that I'm bogged down by it, but that I am filtering. I'm filtering the way that I show up. I'm filtering my conversations. I'm in a way, not in a way that I'm holding myself back, but I'm reflecting on it, right? Like I'm purposeful in the way that I want to show up here. I'm purposeful in the way that I want to show up with my friends, with my family, and the way that I want to show up on the mat, and the way that I want to teach. I'm continually in this process of learning.
I think it's just, again, it comes back to awareness or noticing, right? Like that we are open to kind of noticing or being aware of our own patterns and pivoting when we need to, right? And it's like, if we are open to that, we are kind of growing and evolving pretty consistently because we're learning.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Well, I feel like there's so much more we could talk about. We say that every single time, but we can continue with the limbs.
I think it would be fun.
I think it would be fun. We can continue with the limbs and kind of how we kind of hold ourselves to account for those things right, in our everyday. And I loved your example of your experience with Jerry. I was grumpy and that is, my kids have been such a great teacher in this for me, and it's very important. While it's harder for me to do it with Mark, we still do. We've gotten really good about it, but it's easy for me to do with my kids. It's I want them to understand how important this is. That when we recognize we've stepped out of character or out of our alignment, that we repair.
Right.
And it's one of the things that I feel like I'm getting right with my I've seen my kids have held me to account, right?
Yeah.
And so I love it. It's I'm not upset. I recognize
that.
You're pumped. I'm
they're learning.
Yes, I'm doing this right.
Yeah.
You are holding me accountable, right?
Yeah. I think our relationships, especially our closest ones, right, they're our biggest mirrors, right? And I will say my marriage has been my biggest mirror of my own behavior, right? And it's like, because, there's no way to not see what I'm doing there, right? And so I think it becomes my largest teacher in many ways, right? My close relationships.
Yeah.
Because they allow me to see how I'm actually showing up, right? It's a lot easier to show up like in my office for people that are a little more disconnected from, right? Sure. Versus my own life.
Yeah, and I just want to, on a like really comforting and snuggly note, since we opened on a snuggly little breath and meditation practice, is how grateful I am for the reciprocal caring relationships that I have, that are able to kind of hold me accountable, and but they do it in a way that because they show up genuinely, right? Like, and so it's
safe.
It's safe for me to show up genuinely, and it's safe for me to that it's inspiring to see other people. And I hope to be that for people. It's like I think like we're in this reciprocal group of energy and care, and it just feels really good. And yes, I do. I have learned some of my greatest lessons from the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning as a wise old woman is that the care that I have gotten from my adult friendships,
same, yeah,
is so super important.
I started laughing because I thought of Jessica saying it blows her dreads back, right? If I had dreads, they would be blown back, right? Because I feel the same. I think that's one of the greatest gifts as I have aged, is like the nurturing and safety and authenticity that I get from these relationships that I've curated, but it kind of felt like they just showed up. Yeah. Right?
Well, but it's a recognizing too that it's work, like that it can't be one-sided, right? Yeah. Like it's a mutual
reciprocity.
Reciprocity of care.
Yes. Right? We gotta meet each other in the same place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do have the warm and fuzzies for those relationships in my life, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Well, that's a beautiful note to end on, right? It's like the beauty and nurturing that we can get when we are around other people who are embodying that integrity, right? And that
ahimsa,
that non-harm or care for us
and the world around them. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. What a joy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for listening. Share your ahimsa moments.
Yes.
Or anything else you want to share.
Yeah.
Just say hi. Something.
Yeah. Tell us about
it. Spill the tea.
Ooh.
Sip the tea and spill the tea with us.
Tell us.
All right. Smell you. Bye.
Bye.